What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL free agency video. In this video, my favorite additions so far this offseason. Whether it's through free agency, a signing, or a trade, these are my favorite additions for every NFL team so far this offseason. Before I give you my favorite additions for this offseason, make sure that you do spike that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV NFL free agency analysis just like this. Also, get in that comment section and let me know what you think. What is your favorite addition to your favorite team so far this offseason? Also, let me know what you think of this different format. A little bit of video, a little bit of audio, a little bit of different. So let me know in the comment section below. Let's roll. The Indianapolis Colts picked up Matt Ryan this offseason, and that was absolutely a massive move. It's my favorite move for them. The other one that maybe could be considered is Yannick Ngakoue, but personally, I think Matt Ryan is such a game changer. I think he's the best quarterback they've had since Andrew Luck. Matt Ryan is still playing at a high level, and for any of you that think, it's not an upgrade from Carson Wentz, you are absolutely positively wrong. Matt Ryan is very smart. He will be way more consistent than Carson Wentz was, and when they need a throw, a play, to get that money, Matt Ryan will get that money. He'll get that bag. So, Matty Ice is my favorite addition for the Indianapolis Colts. My next favorite addition is Jeff Gladney to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this one was really challenging because the Cardinals have basically added 0 players, and I'm obviously not including re-signings here. So, Jeff Gladney is somebody that was a former high pick in the draft. I believe a first-round pick at one point in time. Had some issues, and I believe could be a steal this offseason for the Arizona Cardinals. If he gets his head on straight, if he goes to camp, plays hard, he could be somebody that breaks into the starting lineup for the Arizona Cardinals at a position of massive need. And it's as simple as that. When a team doesn't make many moves, I'm trying to look for the one that could be the diamond in the rough. So, Jeff Gladney could be that for the Arizona Cardinals. The next move is Marcus Maye to the New Orleans Saints. And Marcus Maye is a player I've always adored from a distance. Being an AFC East fan myself of the Patriots, I've noticed the playmaking ability of one Marcus Maye, who can play free safety. He can play strong safety. He can make enough plays in the box to do damage as a run defender. He can make plays as a coverage guy. And what I do think he offers you over a Marcus Williams is more coverage versatility. Marcus Williams was utilized as that deep free safety. Now, Marcus Williams was probably more consistent, but how much of that was being in New Orleans and not New York? Marcus Maye can play maybe a little bit more man coverage and help out Malcolm Jenkins in that regard and spare him and spell him in that regard. On top of that, he could do some of the stuff that Marcus Williams can do, maybe not to the same level, but Marcus Maye is a phenomenal football player that's going to get a new chance on a better football team, on a better defense around him in New Orleans. The next pickup I do love is Logan Tomlinson to the New York Jets. Logan Tomlinson is a really good football player. Is he elite at his position? No, but I think he's been really good. And why I love this move is it helps establish the Jets' offensive line. Now they have at least 4 out of 5 pieces that I really like, if not all 5 positions, with guys that I think at least have potential at the very least. And Tomlinson can provide more veteran presence, more stability, more good level of play consistently, and he's in a scheme that he's very familiar with under Mike LaFleur. So I like it a lot. The next pickup is Andrew Norwell to the Washington football team. Andrew Norwell, I've always thought in Jacksonville, a little bit underrated, and a guy that, because he was on a bad team in a bad situation with bad offensive linemen around him, on a bad offense, bad quarterback play, bad, he wasn't able to play to his level that we saw him play at an all-pro level before getting to Jacksonville. Now, back with Ron Rivera, and with a familiar offensive system. I think Andrew Norwell is going to get back to playing at closer to the level that he left Carolina at, and I think this could be a steal because Brandon Scherf had to be replaced. They went to somebody familiar, somebody with talent, especially in regards to pass blocking. Andrew Norwell is still really good, and I think that's a quality replacement for Brandon Scherf. The next one is Malcolm Butler to the New England Patriots. I'm just a huge fan of nostalgia. You guys know I love Toby coming back in the Spider-Man movies. I love nostalgia. So give me Malcolm Butler back in New England. Hopefully we can get an interception at the 1-yard line, but the last time Malcolm Butler played and started for an NFL team for the Tennessee Titans, he was actually pretty darn good. And Malcolm Butler is still a player that can play enough man coverage at his age. He can get it done in zone coverage. He's very instinctual. He can play the ball well. And he's very sticky throughout his career. He's a frustrating corner to play against because he's so feisty. And Malcolm Butler, I still think, can be a starting perimeter corner in this league. That's why I like the move for the Patriots. Tyron Armstead to the Miami Dolphins. I think this was the move that I predicted, and I love it. Not just because of that, but because it's the move that needed to be made, which is why I predicted it. The Miami Dolphins need to protect Tua, and finally they get a blindside guy, or in this case, not a blindside guy, but at least one of those tackles discovered with Tyron Armstead. And Tyron Armstead has been an all-pro caliber player, a elite player at that left tackle position for the last 5 to 7 seasons. He's protected the likes of Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, and everybody else, Teddy Bridgewater. He really only has problems with injuries, but other than that, he's phenomenal in all facets. He's also a captain and a leader, and I see Tyron Armstead immediately making impact for this running game and for this passing game, seeing a significant difference for the left tackle position for the Miami Dolphins. He's just that good. The next addition is Logan Ryan, another former Patriot that has my heart. Logan Ryan to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this could low-key be an upgrade from what they had in Whitehead. I like Whitehead as a football player. I actually really love that he plays with that old school mentality and style of a downhill safety. But that style of safety is kind of old-fashioned, and Logan Ryan is not the exact opposite. He can be physical, he tackles really well, but he adds you so much versatility as a cover guy. He could play nickel, he could play perimeter corner, he could play strong, he could play free. And that's what I love about Logan Ryan. For an secondary that has had issues with injuries, has had issues with nickel play, has had issues with consistency, I think Logan Ryan is somebody that can provide veteran leadership, stability, consistency, and versatility. And that's all essential for a championship level team like Tampa Bay. The next addition is Jarran Reed to the Green Bay Packers. This one was pretty simple because they've only really made one addition. And Jarran Reed is not my favorite football player, as you guys know. But Jarran Reed in this system, which is going to be slightly different from what he's played in before, in my opinion, is going to be interesting to watch how he develops playing beside Kenny Clark, benefiting from Kenny Clark, and then being a little bit of a pass rush layer on top of Kenny Clark on the interior. That's something I do feel that the Packers could use in an upgrade. Obviously, they get the size of Jarran Reed. They needed another player inside that could not only play the run, but the pass. And I feel like they haven't really had an interior guy that could pass rush and help Kenny Clark on the inside. And Reed could certainly do that and has the upside of getting you nearly double-digit sacks. So Reed is not a bad pickup for a very low contract that they offered him and that he signed. So it's kind of low risk, high reward with somebody like Jarran Reed. The next pickup that I love is Brandon Scherf to the Jacksonville Jags. Why I love this? Well, you get an elite player at his position. I don't care what the money is. I get it. Jacksonville made a lot of questionable signings. This is my favorite because this is the guy that I know is going to be really good. Period. Like, you sign Brandon Scherf, you're getting a very good football player at guard. That's all I know, right? So that's why I love this move, because you are helping Trevor Lawrence. You are helping your running game. You are making your offense better by adding somebody of this caliber. And it's nothing more complicated than that. My next favorite pickup is Charvarius Ward to the San Francisco 49ers. Charvarius Ward has always been one of my favorite corners since joining Kansas City and coming onto the scene really that season where they won that Super Bowl. And he just shows off some length, some physicality, some good man-to-man ability. And I'm intrigued to see how that mixes into a place like San Francisco. San Francisco typically has been zone-heavy in the past, but since DeMeco Ryans has become their defensive coordinator, they have been more willing to mix in man coverage, but they have not had the man coverage corners to be able to do so. You add a top number one corner like Charvarius Ward, and I do believe he's a number one corner in this league, and you add versatility and flexibility to your defensive scheme with his ability. So, Charvarius Ward is one of my favorite pickups. My next favorite pickup is Vaughn Miller, one of my favorite players of all time. Vaughn Miller goes to the Buffalo Bills, my division rival, but it's all good. The Buffalo Bills pick up a phenomenal football player, a Hall of Fame pass rusher, and finally get a pass rusher that offensive lines have to respect as the guy, right? That everybody else can thrive off of, that everybody else can benefit from. Jerry Hughes was nice. Mario Addison, okay. These guys are fine. But Vaughn Miller is a bona fide 100% Hall of Famer. And whenever you have that type of status, an offensive line and an offense is going to game plan for that player. And even if it means Vaughn Miller doesn't put up 10 plus sacks, that means everybody else is doing work and getting pressure. And that helps the Bills win a Super Bowl. So that's why I love this move. Absolutely. My next favorite move is Lyell Collins to the Cincinnati Bengals. And the reason is, you protect Joe Burrow. It's very simple. I love what they did overall as a strategy to protect Joe Burrow. I absolutely adore it. Collins was the biggest piece of them all, getting and solidifying a right tackle who has massive upside, not just literally, but also figuratively. I believe that Collins can be a top 5 right tackle in this league when he's on. And that type of upside is definitely just amazing to have at a not crazy contract, not a crazy price, and is protecting your asset, Joe Burrow. You need to protect that guy. We saw him get hit numerous times, sacked numerous times, way too many times throughout the playoffs and throughout last season. So they protect him, and I love it. Collins to the Bengals. Next one, come on. Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. Isn't that kind of obvious? And I haven't included all the big trades here. You will see coming up. But Russell Wilson to the Broncos, the reason I love it the most, there's 2 reasons. Denver has needed a quarterback since since forever, since Peyton Manning retired, right? And they finally get one here. Russell Wilson. They just go out, they say, whatever you need, Russ, we're getting you. So they get him. That instantly puts them into the Super Bowl window. Whenever you can do that, that is lovable. On top of that, he is the type of guy that changes culture. He is the type of guy that changes a locker room. When Russell Wilson enters your facility, you become better. Because he is a great leader. He is a guy that just has an infectious attitude towards winning. And that is the type of guy I want on my roster, and my quarterback, and my leader. So Russell Wilson is absolutely my favorite addition to the Denver Broncos. Next, we got Robert Woods to the Tennessee Titans. They let go of Julio Jones, they get Robert Woods. In my opinion, while that might have not have been an upgrade 4 years ago, it's an upgrade today. And even though Robert Woods is coming off an injury, and you had to trade for him and all that, and his contract isn't even super cheap, he is a tough football player. He fits the Mike Vrabel style of receiver. He kind of I feel like Mike Vrabel was thinking this is Troy Brown. That's what I'm feeling he's thinking. But he's tough. He's good after the catch. He's a great blocker. He can catch. He can win after, he could do it all. He can run all the routes. He's a great intermediate route runner, a specifically short route runner specifically, and can also thrive off of A.J. Brown as a number 2 receiver, a clear-cut number 2 for Tannehill, but somebody that can be a very quality number 2 and an inside receiver, where A.J. Brown is more of an big outside wide receiver. So I love that Robert Woods, unlike Julio, is sort of different from A.J. Brown, but also going to be more reliable, more consistent, and therefore going to help the team at a much greater rate. So Robert Woods to the Tennessee Titans is definitely a great addition. My next favorite addition is Casey Hayward to the Atlanta Falcons. While after, the whole Deshaun situation, getting rid of Matt Ryan, this move doesn't make as much sense. I still like it just because Casey Hayward didn't come at an expensive rate, and he's a very good football player still. And he's going to instantly provide a nice number 2 corner for AJ Terrell on the opposite side and lock down the other side of the field, which is going to immensely help the front and is going to immensely help Dean Pees' scheme and defense, and at the very least provide a veteran in the back end who can teach and tutor all these younger players and can give them the tricks of the trade, so to speak. I feel like Casey Hayward's still playing at a very high level, but he can also do so many things on and off the field that I think this is a great signing, regardless of who your quarterback is this season. Chase Winovich to the Cleveland Browns is actually my favorite Cleveland move. It is not Deshaun Watson for a variety of reasons, maybe 22 of them, but Chase Winovich in particular is my favorite. And listen to this. This is why. Chase Winovich is one of my favorite moves. And it's because Chase Winovich in New England has flashed big time potential, like big time pass rushing ability, and he just never fit New England. He was one of those players that just never seemed to fit that scheme. And I think uniquely to New England, usually it's the other way around, right? Belichick takes players and he makes them into great players. I think Winovich is sort of different. There's certain pass rushers that just don't fit New England. And I think Winovich is a very good pure finesse pass rusher off the edge. He's got a great ability to just bend and get there. And he's a relentless guy. I think he's going to thrive in Cleveland as like that number 3 edge rusher. I wouldn't be shocked if he had like 5 to 8 sacks this year and made an impact on third down and passing situations for the Cleveland Browns. Absolutely would not be shocked whatsoever. That is why I love this move, because you're giving up basically nothing, like Mack Wilson for Chase Winovich. Mack Wilson wasn't playing for you guys. Chase Winovich will, and Chase Winovich will be a factor on your team in my opinion. So that's why I think it was my favorite move that you made. My next favorite move is Matt Ioannidis, the all-Mitch team from a couple years ago. Matt Ioannidis to the Carolina Panthers. The reason I love it is because you need somebody that can benefit from Derek Brown being an absolute monster on the interior. Matt Ioannidis has been a low-key, excellent pass rusher throughout his career in Washington. The problem with Washington was that depth chart up the middle was stuffed, and he didn't get all the playing time in the world. He's going to become a regular playtime player. He's going to become a force as a pass rusher on the interior that thrives off of Brown, thrives off of Burns. And he's that perfect type of guy that I thought they were getting, right, with Morgan Fox. Maybe they didn't quite get that. Ioannidis should legitimately give them a threat from that interior to get to the quarterback. So I think as long as he stays healthy, this could be a really nice, low-key, under-the-radar signing that not a lot of people know actually happened, and I think it's a really good one. Next is Mark Glowinski to the New York Giants. This was the best offensive lineman the Giants signed. I think that the Giants definitely needed to upgrade their offensive line. Certainly, it's still the biggest need on the football team. And this is just a very solid football player. Very solid football player. Has actually maybe been a tad underrated throughout his tenure in Indianapolis. And I think he gives you a starting caliber guard, plug-and-play player right away, which is an absolute win for a team like the Giants who can't seem to protect and can't seem to open any holes in the run or the pass game. So I feel that Mark Glowinski, it's not a sexy pickup, but it is a really solid one for the New York Giants. Next, the Davante Adams trade for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are winning me over this offseason with all of their moves, but the winner here is Davante Adams, and it's because it's the biggest game-changing move they made. They made a lot of nice moves, I feel. Chandler Jones, Jayon Brown, I love a lot of them, but Davante Adams is absolutely the biggest because even though he's a receiver, he's going to change this team more than anybody that they got and anybody that they maybe could have got because he's arguably the best receiver in the league. He demands respect from defenses. He is that number one guy that's going to be reliable. He's got the chemistry already with Derek Carr. He fits McDaniel's offense to a T. All of it is perfection, from fit to player to positional need. it's all there, and even though you had to give up some picks to get him, I feel it's totally worth it. So Adams just elevates your Raiders offense and team to such a level that it undeniably is my favorite addition for this football team. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys picking up a low-key defensive end in Dante Fowler. And Dante Fowler has been heavily criticized, not only in Atlanta, but throughout a lot of his career. I don't think he's ever really lived up to his billing as that pass rusher that Jacksonville thought they were getting and a couple other teams thought they were getting, but he has been productive throughout his career in a rotation role that thrives off of other pass rushers. And Dante Fowler can certainly be that in Dallas. Dallas kind of has this way about them where they find these low-key defensive end edge players that have talent, that have a skill set, a certain skill set, and they plug them into their defense and then they shine. And Dante Fowler is absolutely that type of guy, and I could see him getting back on track with the Cowboys due to their track record of success at that position. Next, Noah Fant to the Seattle Seahawks. Noah Fant is just a very good athlete. And I feel like Seattle's been looking for this type of tight end that can make plays as a receiver, make plays as a blocker, and just be an incredible athlete that does damage after the catch. He fits what Seattle is looking for at this position, and I think he's the best part of that trade, other than obviously the massive amount of picks that they got. I do prefer him over what they got in Shelby Harris. I do think he's still young and still hasn't hit his peak, so I think Noah Fant is a very good pickup for Seattle. Next, we've got J.C. Jackson to the Chargers, and this one was tough because you could have went with Khalil Mack, but J.C. Jackson at his age is going to be there longer in my opinion and playing at a higher level longer than Khalil Mack. And J.C. Jackson is just a superstar. To me, he's arguably the best corner in football. I've said it. No corner has man, no corner has zone, no corner has ball skills the way that this guy combines all three of those traits. And J.C. Jackson is just a playmaker. He makes plays, he makes a difference, he changes games, and he's a shutdown guy. So he's going to change what the Chargers do and how they can play defense. And that's absolutely a massive addition that I love. DJ Chark to the Detroit Lions. This was a great pickup for the Lions. I think this was a piece that they were missing. A high upside wide receiver that they didn't have to break the bank on, that can fly, that's got some size, that can play on the outside, that can make plays down the field. Absolutely a perfect addition to complement what they already have in TJ Hawkinson, St. Brown, and Swift. Jared Goff will love DJ Chark. As long as he's healthy, this will be a home run signing, and you also have him in your building so that you can sign him long term. I love the prove it deal for DJ Chark, and I think he could have a great season with the Lions. I like that pickup a ton. Next, we've got the Bears picking up a friend of Matt Eberflus. That is Muhammad, formerly of the Colts, and this is just a very solid all-around player that's going to be able to contribute to the Bears in their new system with some familiarity, with ability to play as a run defender, pass rusher, and this was one of Matt Eberflus's favorites. He targeted him right away in free agency, and I could see why. He had his most productive season last year. He started a ton for them last year in Indianapolis. So this is a low-key name that not a lot of people know of, but I think he's going to be productive, helping replace Khalil Mack as one of those edge players. Next up, we've got James Daniels going to Pittsburgh. And when I saw this, I was like, man, this is a fantastic move by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh has quietly had a pretty good offseason and free agency, and I think James Daniels is a home run. James Daniels is a young, very, very good football player that can play guard or center. He's got great feet. He can move very well. He fits what they want to do. He fits the archetype of their new offensive line, and he's going to be a great player for the biggest need on their football team. I mean, and he's young. Like, how could you get better than that? James Daniels is the perfect signing for what Pittsburgh needed this offseason. Next, we've got my guy. I just call him Oscar, but I'm going to attempt to say his name once again, and that is Ogba Okoronkwo. Ogba Okoronkwo has signed with the Texans, and I have always been a fan of him dating back to when he was drafted. I was actually a big fan of his pass rushing skill set. And in his limited time with LA, with the Rams, I should say, he has been productive and he has been able to get to the quarterback and he has flashed this ability to just pass rush. And for a team that's looking for these diamonds in the rough, these low-key signings for limited money on short-term contracts, this is the type of guy you go and get. You get a guy that's in limited time shown flashes of potential. And Ogba could be that guy for the Houston Texans. So I like that pickup, and I've always liked the player. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Kansas City Chiefs. I do prefer this signing over Marquise Valdes-Scantling. Juju is just the better player. He's the more consistent player. He's a tougher receiver. He's going to catch more passes. He's going to make more plays over the middle of the field. I think he's going to benefit from Travis Kelce. I think that Juju is going to actually find a home in Kansas City as a guy that can play from the slot and can make and do some damage from that slot position, as a guy that can convert after the catch into a beast that's hard to take down. And even though he dances and does all this stuff with Jackson Mahomes, that's going to be phenomenal comedy. Juju is also going to be productive on the football field. So how can you hate on that? Zadarius Smith to the Minnesota Vikings. Zadarius Smith is just a very good football player that I think is well-rounded. He also, could do a variety of things. He's my type of edge rusher because he can blitz from the interior. He can rush from the edge. He can win on third down as a pure pass rusher. He can convert into one of those really good guys in games and stunts up front with his athleticism. He can win with power in the running game. He can do just about everything, and that's why I love this pickup. He's also a great addition going on the opposite side of Danielle Hunter, who they're looking to extend. So it feels like that those two are going to be dominant together. I love that. Then you have Hassan Reddick to the Philadelphia Eagles. Hassan Reddick has recently just gone on a tear the last couple of seasons with the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals. He's proven to be a very, very productive pass rusher. And the only worry about Hassan Reddick would be like his size in the run game and if he were to be a number one pass rusher. But that's not the case in Philadelphia. You're just adding another great pass rusher to what you already have. And guys like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave and Derek Barnett re-signed. You're going to have a great rotation in Philadelphia. That is the foundation of that Super Bowl team a few years back. I think Reddick is going to thrive in Philadelphia off of those other guys and be able to work his football game, which is a little bit of hybrid ability and a hybrid athlete that has just found a place as a pass rusher in the NFL. Next, you've got Marcus Williams to the Baltimore Ravens. Marcus Williams is just really smart, a good leader, great in the back end of a defense, is great as a solo free safety, just reading the field, split or, post safety. He could play and do it both, and he could do it at a high level. He recognizes quarterbacks and what they're doing, reading their eyes, making plays on the football, flying around the field, and he covers up any big plays that can be had from an offense, which is exactly what Baltimore needs. They give up way too many bombs, way too many plays down the field. Williams is going to take that away, and he's going to be worth the money because of that. This is also the best safety they've had in a while, so I love that move for the Baltimore Ravens. And the final addition is Allen Robinson to the Super Bowl champions. Allen Robinson is my favorite addition the Rams have made so far. They haven't made many, but this one was an impactful one that took, the league was very surprised by this one because of the wide receiver situation. It opened up Robert Woods getting traded. I do really love the fit for Allen Robinson in LA, though, as an intermediate route runner. He's perfect for Matthew Stafford. He's kind of what he had in Detroit with Kenny Golladay. He's not maybe as good winning the ball in the air, but he's a better route runner. He's crisp. He gets open. He's great, in terms of just his hands are consistent. He's maybe not the receiver he was a couple years ago. That is yet to be seen. But as somebody that can benefit from Cooper Kupp and potentially OBJ if he comes back, Allen Robinson is just a very nice complement to this offense and fits this role perfectly well. You could see him doing a lot of the things that OBJ was doing late in that playoff run to a high level. So I like Allen Robinson to the Rams quite a bit. So there you guys go. Those are my favorite additions so far this NFL offseason. If you enjoyed, don't forget to Gronk spike that like button and subscribe for more NFL BLV content. Thanks guys for watching. It's Mitch. Peace.